Hi guys!
Hello.
Welcome back. We're in a little bit of a different setup today. That's because, if you could not tell from the title and the thumbnail of this video, we are talking sleep. And in this case, sleeping with my husband. So, Cliff right here is my husband and we sleep together. So we wanted to go over some sleep techniques because, well, I'm the sleep queen. I would say Cliff has a harder time with sleep. So we've kind of come up with a list of different options that help both of us. Now, before we get too deep into this, I will say everybody is different. So what works for me, what works for him might not work for you, vice versa, that kind of thing. So take it with a grain of salt, but these are some tried and true techniques. And figured, you're taking care of your face and your skincare, why not take care of the rest of your body? Also, I can only use one hand because I've got a sling on. So, anything else to say, my sweetheart?
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. All right, we're going to go to sleep now. So, the first one that I wanted to start with is one that really helps me personally, especially being a project manager and someone who works at my computer all day. I never close all my tabs on my computer because I know I have like a million different things that I have to go to and do the next day. But you can also do what I do. Also, I do two things. I basically create a to-do list for the next day. And this basically helps you take out any question in your mind where you're going to be up in the middle of the night. Oh my God, did I remember to do this? Oh my gosh, did I write down that I need to get this? Because you've already done that. So your mind can kind of be at ease and rest a little bit. So I know it sounds really simple, but honestly, just writing out a to-do list if you feel stressed about the next day or the next week. And that way you can kind of empty all your thoughts for the next day. And basically you're leaving your tabs open on your computer, but in your mind. So that is one technique that has always worked for me and I think is very beneficial for others.
For a few years, I had trouble sleeping because I, have a lot of stressful things going on throughout the day. Like if I'm flipping a house, I'm stressed about things that we're finding or the numbers or whatnot. And my brain is just always very active. And so for the past few years, it's been a little harder to fall asleep. And so, I tried melatonin and it definitely helped. But then I discovered this form of melatonin called Gorilla Mind. Well, Gorilla Mind is the company. Gorilla Dream is the product. And it has immediate release melatonin. And then it also has an extended release melatonin. And then it has a few other things like ashwagandha and magnesium. And they claim that it gives you more lucid sleep and deeper sleep and more dreams, more vivid dreams. And I definitely like it as a product. I definitely think that less likely to toss and turn, less likely to wake up in the middle of the night, and have more vivid dreams. So that's definitely a good one.
Yeah, and I will echo his sentiment that, sometimes it's about finding the right mix. So some people, melatonin works for them. That's all they need. Other people, I know that melatonin you become a little immune to it. So maybe switching it up, trying something new. The Gorilla Mind brand is a very good brand. I know a lot of people use it for other supplements as well, but there are tons of them out there. Just be very careful, like when you are buying supplements, because you want to make sure that what's on the package is really what you're getting. So make sure that the certification is correct and maybe do a little bit of research about it as well. All right. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I love a bath. So truly, I can take a bath any time of the year, even if it's 100 degrees out. It's just, for me, it's a very relaxing thing. I don't necessarily love to shower. I know that sounds weird, but I would definitely prefer a bath. Put in some bubbles, put in some Epsom salt, make it nice and smelly and smells good, put a candle, and I am in heaven. So especially in the wintertime, when you're nice and cold and you want to be warmed up, but it's just something that helps to wind you down. So if you don't like a bath per se, maybe find something else that helps as a wind down. Some people do yoga. Some people just do some stretching. For me, I hop in that bath, I put on a good TV show or read a book, have a glass of wine, and I am good to go. So a lot of these are free. So the Make a List one that I had, and then the bubble bath, relatively free. You can find relatively cheap products. And then we're going to get to some as we go that are more expensive or just have like different costs associated. But just wanted to put it out there that you don't have to always spend a ton of money to find ways to calm yourself at night.
So she received a product called MindLax, and, you know, because she's a pretty good sleeper, she said, well, why don't you try this? And so what it is, it's a mat. They call it a vibroacoustic sleeping mat. And it has sensors all up and down. And they claim to not have speakers in it, which I don't understand because it makes a sound as well. So if you can imagine hitting a gong and you would feel the vibration on your back and then you would hear the sound of the gong. And it has kind of like an Eastern sort of vibe, you know, meditation vibe to it, you know, where you kind of feel like you're in a temple maybe, or in an Eastern country, you know, a Zen garden kind of thing. And what it does, the science behind it is they claim to help you transition from alert and active beta brainwave patterns to tranquil alpha brainwave patterns. They also claim to help you reduce cortisol and increase dopamine, as well as to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. And it has been shown, according to the literature in clinical trials, to do this. They have what's called a polysomnography brainwave diagram, and they found in 91% of people to have improved results. And so there's a few ways to do this. They claimed about 30 minutes before going to sleep to start it. And so it starts making these sounds and these vibrations. And when I'm not running behind or when I'm not like messing around too much and I can get in bed before my bedtime, then I'm able to read. And that's like really I think the more ideal way to do it, where you read while it's kind of like calming you and transitioning you into this more elegant and relaxed sleep. But I've also just started it right when I go to bed, and it definitely helps you fall asleep faster. Like, the sounds are just so peaceful.
The vibrations too, I like.
They just make you forget about all the stressful stuff in your life, and they help you fall asleep. It's got 2 modes. It has a sleep mode and a relax mode. The relax mode I found is good, you know, in the middle of the day when you really would like to take a nap, but you don't have time to take a nap. You can't really justify taking a nap. So you lay down, put the relax mode on.
Or you can even sit. Like, you could put it on the couch as well.
Yeah, and it's basically just like a quick power nap or like a quick meditation to just kind of like clear your mind. And I really like it.
As someone who is beside him while the MindLax is going, I'm going to get to this in a second, but I wear earplugs, so I can't really hear it that much, but I can feel the vibrations, and it doesn't bother me at all. But they are strong. Like, if you're worried that it's not going to be loud enough or strong enough, that should not be a concern. It's very powerful in the sense that, like, you're getting your money's worth, I guess. And
I just found out it has 3 modes. It has where the vibrations are always 100%, but it has 3 modes with the audio. So like 20, 50, and 90% audio. So, you know, if you want it to be quieter, but still have that kind of synergy between the senses, there's another mode for that as well.
All right. The next one that I just mentioned, one of the big things for me are earplugs. Now, I don't think everyone is going to be an earplug kind of person, or maybe you have small children and you need to be able to hear them. So it's not going to work for everybody, but for me, earplugs are literally life-saving. It just takes the noise of the outside world and it translates that into my mind. So I don't hear anything. I also will talk about how I wake up when I wear earplugs, because I can understand that people would be concerned, like, well, I'm not going to hear my alarm. So I'll get to that in a little bit, but earplugs and then kind of hand in hand would be an eye mask. I really love a few that I do have. Lately, I have not been wearing them as much, mainly just because my eyelashes were so long that they kind of bent them. It's a very first world problem, but that is another one if you sleep and you have like a lot of outside noise or light. But they are both 2 things that will help you just kind of tune out outside noises and sounds. So really highly recommend.
So another thing I want to discuss is called a body pillow. which I just found out this morning is actually called a pregnancy pillow. But she got one, and she didn't really use it, so she gave it to me, and I love it. It's basically like a U-shaped pillow that is like for your head, but also has these like two, legs or whatever. And the way that I use it, even with the MindLax, so I'll put the MindLax and then I'll put the U-shaped pillow over it, is I basically clutch. I feel stupid saying it. Like I just hug one like a little safety blanket, and the other one like kind of cradles me. And
this is why you have a spouse.
I will say that it's not the most cuddling, prone invention. It does tend to kind of, relegate you to one side of the bed. I have to basically like climb over it to go cuddle and then climb back. But, I used to occasionally go, if I couldn't fall asleep, I would go, or if I woke up in the middle of the night, I would go sleep on the couch. And she would cry and say, "Oh, you don't love me. It's because of me. You don't like me."
Cry.
Well, inside she cried. And, I realized that it was just, there was something about having the back of the couch. It's like very cradling. It's very, warm. It feels like a mother's embrace. And this body pillow replicates that. So I really like it. It's also a funny story. We had a cleaning lady. So during the day, I have like construction clothes and boots on, so I'm just like kind of tough guy. And the cleaning lady kept taking the pillow and putting it on her side of the bed. It took her a long time to realize that I was the one using it. But it keeps me from tossing and turning as much. Like I clutch one side, and I don't know. I just like it.
The other one I want to talk about is one that is a free option. And this one takes some dedication and I would say training, and that is to do away with your phone. It doesn't mean you have to put it in another room. I know that's one technique that a lot of people do because it's really like they need it to be out of their room for them to not use their phone. But it's been pretty much proven that your phone is a terrible thing for sleep. Like if you wake up in the middle of the night and you check your phone, you're more likely to stay awake because you get distracted and then you find something to look at and you start scrolling. So one of the ways that you can kind of stop that before it starts is at night, not get on your phone. I know it's a really, really hard one, and it took me a long time, and it took me getting back into reading to cut that out of my life. But I have found, especially at night when like I have been on a computer all day, I've been talking to people, it's like a lot of social media during my day anyway. Like I don't really want to be on it anymore. And so finding a good book, or I use a Kindle, so I read with my Kindle, it just eliminates more screen time. I guess you could say a Kindle is screen time, but it's not really. And so if you are able to, I would start with like some book that you really, really enjoy, because sometimes it can be hard. The stimulus of reading a book is much different than the instant gratification we get from Instagram or somewhere. So start with something that's really highly entertaining to get you back into reading. But it is something that really, I think, can change your sleep patterns and your just kind of enjoyment of life, really, in the long run. My last two, and I'm going to go through the second to last one quickly, but that one is a rule that I have always had for myself, and I think other people have it as well, but it's about caffeine. Now, it depends on your body, your bedtime, when you wake up, but for me, internally, I just have always said, like, no caffeine past 4 p.m. Diet soda, really, like if I drink soda, which I don't drink often, it kind of doesn't count because I feel like I don't get enough caffeine from it. But like coffee or tea, for sure. At 4 p.m., I cannot have more. Like I'm just going to be up all night or it's going to really disrupt my sleep. Some people, Cliff says 5 p.m. for him. So it's kind of up to you and what your body like kind of needs or can't handle. But it's definitely something that I think everyone should adopt because there's just no reason to be drinking caffeine late into the night if you want to sleep. All right, and the last one, this one kind of harkens back to what I was saying about the earplugs. People ask like, well, if you're wearing earplugs, how are you going to wake up? How are you going to hear your alarm? And also like, if my phone's not in the room because I'm focusing on that, how am I going to wake up? Well, I've got the solution for you. And this is honestly probably one of the best purchases I've made off of Amazon this year. This is this alarm. It's called, I don't actually know the name, and there's so many like different versions. But it's a light alarm. So basically, instead of your blaring meh, 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 going off, you are awoken by light. And that light gets progressively stronger. So it's on your bedside table, and if you say you set your alarm for 6 a.m., the alarm or the light will start kind of brightening at about, I think it's 5:45, like 15, 20 minutes before. And as it gets closer to the actual alarm time, it'll be brighter, and it's supposed to mimic basically the sun rising. And it is so much more peaceful, and your body just naturally is meant to wake up with the sun. It's also not a blaring alarm. You can have different sounds instead of alarms. So you can have waves crashing, you can have birds chirping, so they have different, I think it's 8 different sounds, and then you can have different colors that wake you up. There are so many options. They also have the ability to set your alarm Monday through Friday, and then different alarms Saturday, Sunday, or you can turn them all off. There's a radio option. It obviously tells time. It's a nightlight in a sense. It really is wonderful, and I think I bought it for like $32. So there's just, I don't know. It works so nicely, and I've noticed I don't dread having to set the alarm because that goes off, and it's so much more peaceful to wake up to.
Does it have a safety alarm, like a blaring one, if the lights don't work?
It does have alarms. Yes, you can set it to the blaring alarm. So if you're
like
worried,
5-10 minutes later. Okay.
If you're worried about that, you can set that. But yeah. So I apologize for my bloody nose through this video. I thought this video would be helpful because like I said, if you talk to any of my friends, if you talk to Cliff, my mom, they all are like, she can sleep through anything. Like she knows how to sleep.
She slept through the night at 2 days old.
Yes, it's a family lore. But it doesn't mean that I always do. I actually, as I get older, there are more stresses. You definitely have more things that make sleep harder. So these combination of things really work well for both of us. And obviously, I don't do everything he does, and he doesn't do everything I do. But I feel like you can kind of pick and choose the ones that work for you or could work for you. And we just hope that this video is helpful for you. And I will have a code. You get $100 off the MindLax if you do want to purchase it with my code. So I will link that below. He swears by it. It's really kind of changed the game for him. And a lot of technology and research that backs up the science behind it. A lot of science that backs up the technology that comes with the MindLax. So I think with that said, we're going to end here. Let us know if you have any questions below. Let Cliff if you have any questions for him. He is happy to answer them. This is his debut on YouTube. And we'll see you guys in the next one.